What's up, guys? KAMIKAZE-FOX coming to you from SRL F1 2019 on the PS4 platform. We're going to be doing round 12 today. Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona, which is fitting since F1 testing has been running there for the past couple weeks. So we are running round 12 today. And I've got Lewis Marshall with me here in the booth, who is going to be sitting out for qualifying because of a qualifying ban back at round 11 at Abu Dhabi for, what was it now? Unsafe re-entry to the track?
Yeah.
So Lewis is going to sit with me through the 18-minute short qualifying session, then he will participate from the back of the grid in the 50% race. And Lewis, you and Tim Ventic, both very fast drivers, both going to miss qualifying, which is going to leave it open to another driver to take pole. Any thoughts on who might snag the pole position today?
Nick or Sandro, probably, I guess.
Nick Van Gelder, Sandro Dulius. I'm going to say Sandro, I think, is going to step up today and make a run for the pole position. We'll run down the driver lineup here real quick, waiting on a couple more drivers to join up. So far, we've got 10 on the grid. SRL Sam is going to be Sam Brandt in the Haas. Joe FY200 is Jo Marusic in the Red Bull. VRT Ventic is Tim Ventic. Sandro Dulius is obviously Sandro Dulius. PTRL Ivan Brito going to be Ivan Brito from the Portuguese Racing League. Mr. Robin HX is Robin Herdestegen in the Racing Point. Nick Van Gelder in the other Red Bull. Brian Power will be in the other Racing Point. Praga X30 is Lewis Marshall, who is sitting with me right now. And Colin Higgins rounding out the 10 drivers for today's race. He'll be in the other factory Renault. We've got Rafael Brito on the live chat. And Ivan Brito joining in as well. So Ivan Brito, always good to have Ivan with us. He's a crowd favorite. He brings a lot of PTRL viewers to the stream whenever he participates in one. So always good to have him. So Barcelona, what are your better tracks? What are your worst tracks? I mean, Formula One uses it as a testing ground. I mean, how do you approach the track itself?
I don't dislike the track, and I don't like the track. It's just a track, like just an alright track. So yeah, I'm not sure how to approach the race today, whether to be aggressive or patient, because me and Tim need to get through the field quick if we want to win.
Well, you bring up a good point, though, of being aggressive or not. I mean, it is a rather small field, it looks like. Would that play a part into how aggressive you want to be? I mean, obviously a race can't be won going into turn one, but it can certainly be lost.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like everyone's just going to be careful for the first lap. So, while people are being careful, I might throw a few moves, hopefully.
And Ivan Brito is asking, who do I have with me? It is Lewis Marshall. Ivan, he is sitting out qualifying due to a qualifying ban from round 11. And let's go over round 11. That was a couple weeks ago. Luke Mathiasen took home his third pole position of the season. And what was a win for him as well. It was the second win of the season. Tim Ventic came home second. Sam Brandt picked up a much-deserved and long-awaited podium position. It's been a long time since Sam Brandt has been on the podium, coming off of a third-place finish. Sandro Dulius had a good run to fourth. Luke Smith finished fifth. Lewis Marshall was sixth. Dion Stahl came home seventh. Philip Smith was eighth. Robin Herdestegen was ninth. And Reese March was 10th. That rounded out your 10 points-paying positions. Jacob Bagos, Brian Power, Sam Lissenberg, and Ivan Brito rounding out the remainder of the field. And then as Luke Mathiasen, that was his second win of the season.
Looks like we're ready enough now.
So it looks like we're going to roll with 10 drivers, but there's one thing I can say about a lot of online racing between SRL and IRL. Short on drivers does not mean short on action. There's had a handful of races this year where we haven't had a whole lot of drivers, but there's been a ton of action on the track. In fact, you experienced some of that with me as you co-commentated with me back at Hockenheim for the IRL F2 race. Didn't have a full grid there, but the racing was unbelievable throughout the course of the whole race.
Yeah, I remember that race was like non-stop action. First lap to, what was it, lap 33 or 34 at Hockenheim.
Yeah, it was a pretty epic race, and surprisingly, Hockenheim made for good action. Not only in F1 this year, but in IRL F2. So that was really interesting. Be sure to check that out.
Yeah. Hoping for a good race today. Like, I was talking to Nick earlier, and I said, me and Tim are just gonna make like the stream fun, just making moves, hopefully.
We've got SRL chairman. What's up, everybody? SRL chiming in on the live chat as well. Feel free to join us in the live chat, ask us questions. You and Tim going to be working your way through the field. Any takers on top 3 finishing positions today?
Oh, it's tough to predict. I think people are expecting me and Tim both on the podium. If we like keep our front wings and all that, then yeah, it's Nick, Sandro, Sam could get another podium. It's anyone's game. Like a safety car could throw the race up in the air. So literally.
And yes, with the new update, the safety cars have become not only more frequent but very frequent.
Extremely frequent.
And virtual safety cars as well, which can definitely shake things up. I am betting on you and Tim to be running 1-2, which leaves the 3rd spot open. I'm thinking Sandro's going to get the pole position, but I got a feeling Nick's going to walk away with the podium today. We've got NFL Addiction Germany, who says he's super hyped for this race, but we certainly appreciate the enthusiasm. We're just waiting for a couple more drivers to join in before we get started with this 18-minute short qualifying session in a 50% race. Got Lewis Marshall in the booth with me. He'll be sitting out qualifying due to a qualifying ban at round 11 at Abu Dhabi. Him and Tim Ventic actually both have qualifying bans. Tim, for his contact with you, and then subsequently your qualifying ban, because of that contact, had an unsafe re-entry into the track and actually took out Jacob Bagos. So both of you, unfortunately, with qualifying bans.
Yeah, I remember in that race, after the spin, I didn't even see the car, so I thought it was safe to rejoin. All of a sudden, it came out of nowhere and just smacked me. I was like, oh crap.
Yeah, it was that peculiar area at the end of that backstretch. That left-right sequence has that little bit of an uphill, and I assume you use a cockpit view, so from that you're very low to the ground and can't see over just that little crest, and you demolished Jacob and ruined his race, unfortunately. And Abu Dhabi, a tough track. I mean, the racing online is a lot better than the racing in reality when it comes to the Abu Dhabi track. But how was it aside from that? I mean, is that a good track for you? Or is it another one like Catalonia? It's just kind of there. It's kind of like purgatory. It's not great. It's not bad. It's just there.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Abu Dhabi. I've never gone well there, apart from that 2017 race, which I won in SRL. But other than that, it's just been awful for me.
And I like to refer as Abu Dhabi as one of the many, I refer to it as a cookie cutter track. Ever since Formula One has decided to appoint, I can't even remember his name, as the track designer, it seems like most of his tracks are they might look different on paper, but they're essentially the same. A couple of long straightaways, a lot of 90-degree turns, not a lot of elevation change. Very cookie cutter. It's not like a throwback to the old days of like Brazil, Silverstone. There's elevation change. You run through the terrain. There's grass in your runoff areas as opposed to an airstrip like Paul Ricard. Looks like we're going to get ready to go here. 11 drivers now, so we did get Dion Stahl in here. Yeah. So we were waiting on the final Ferrari. Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, as we get ready to do the 18-minute short qualifying session.
Oh, I need to adjust my tyres. I forgot I was actually racing.
Yeah, you're not doing a full commentary with me today. You still need to be on track. And it does beg the question a little bit. There was some talk heading into this race as to how you would approach this track as far as a downforce setup. How do you approach it? I mean, is it a high downforce track? Is it a low downforce track?
You kind of need to like get the middle of it because you don't want to be like a boat down the straight where everyone's just driving past you, but then you don't want to be like a snail around the corners. So it is tough whether to go low downforce or high downforce.
I've heard a lot of things about how difficult it is to find a good setup for this track because it really only has the one long straightaway on the front stretch, but
Yeah.
the corners themselves, for the most part, are a lot of high-speed corners.
Yeah, they are. As I'm just quickly uploading my setup.
Now, obviously, this is a clockwise track, a lot of right-hand turns. Do you have to approach the front suspension a little differently with all those right-hand turns? Does it put a lot of stress on that left front tire?
Yeah, you have to be careful for the front left because it can overheat quite easily. And when you're following cars as well, that doesn't help. So you have to be a bit careful with suspension and tire pressures with the front left especially.
Looks like we got a couple of guys leaving the track now. Looks like Colin Higgins was the first one out on track in his Renault. Good to have Colin Higgins with us. Good mid-pack driver. Doesn't make a whole lot of noise. Usually finishes mid-pack. Tries to stay out of the way. Doesn't cause a lot of trouble. Good all-around driver. Stays a bit average. Put points on the board for the team.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, same can be said for Yuri Marusic. He's a good number 2 driver in comparison to Nick Van Gelder, your defending champion. Again, good mid-pack, puts points on the board, usually stays out of trouble, no issues.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pick up Ivan Brito here. He's out on the hard tires. I want to talk about Ivan real quick because in IRL he was running F2 this year. And it was actually at this particular track where he had just a horrible race all the way around. It was just tumultuous. As he goes for a spin. So Catalunya proving again not to be one of his better tracks. It was actually at this track though that he was running F2 that he decided that he was not prepared to run at F2 speed. He took a step back at IRL. He ran X3. He made a really mature decision. He quit from the race. He retired from the race because he knew he was a moving roadblock. Took a step back to F3, and within a couple of weeks of running at F3 at IRL, he picked up a win, and he had a pole position a couple weeks ago as well. So Ivan Brito making the mature decision, knew he wasn't ready to run at that pace in F2. So we'll see how he does today. Obviously, already had a little bit of an issue on his outlap.
One way to warm up your tyres, having a spin.
And so far, it looks like he's the only driver that's gone out on the hard tires. We got Sandro Dulius here coming down the front stretch. Looks like he's on the softs as well. Yeah, now, what kind of tire strategy will you run since you're not able to qualify? Does it change your tire strategy?
I can't tell you that bit.
Some secrets we need to hold close to the chest. We don't know who's listening.
Exactly. Neek knows because I was practicing with Neek earlier.
Well, that being said, will Nick run a similar strategy to you, since he knows what you're running?
Was talking about it, but he was unsure whether to do it or not. And I just said, you don't really need to risk anything because you can do quality, as I can't.
Now, without giving too much away, under normal circumstances, is this a one-stop race or a two-stop race?
A one-stop race, most likely. But seeing that most of the people are on softs right now, they could be opting for soft, medium strategy. While it looks like Ryan and actually I think Ryan's got a quality ban. It looks like Ivan's running a one-stop right now.
So we've got 3 times on the board. Yuri Marusic at the top of the charts with a 1:19.269. He's the only driver in the 1:19 so far. Colin Higgins and Ivan Brito 1:23.18 and 1:24.67 respectively. We're right along with looks like Sandro has dived back into the pits. We'll pick up Robin Herdestagen coming across the line now to start his first hot lap. And we see Sam Brand has gone 1:19.675. Good enough for second quickest.
Yeah, this is interesting. Look at people's times because, like I said, me and Neek did race and qualifying, and Neek was doing mid to low 18s. So expect Neek to nick poles and
And just as a little bit of a speed comparison, obviously F1 doing real life testing these past few days, the past week or so at the same track, and there we've seen 1:16.1s out of the Mercedes. So looks like the
yeah,
F1 2020 cars are going to be a tick quicker than the F1 2019s.
yeah. They've like, updated the car more to make it even quicker for 2020.
And obviously Mercedes has that dual access steering that's made a big buzz in preseason. Be
Yeah,
interesting to
well,
see if
Mercedes next season.
that's really a performance advantage throughout the course of the year or not. And while it can be a performance advantage, it's also one more thing on the car to go wrong. So that's another thing to look at too.
Yeah, as it looks like Neek's always invalidated his lap. Neek has.
And Herdestegen goes second quickest with a 1:19.499. And we'll pick up Nick Van Gelder. He's going to come across the line, but as you said, his time was invalidated. We'll hop on board with him, heading down into turn one.
Looks like he's going for another lap, which is interesting. I think he's got enough battery to use.
The yellow flag in sector 3.
That looks like it's a Ferrari.
Oh, and Brian Powers retired from the session, so Brian possibly had some issues in the sector 3 area, and
Yeah, Brian had a quali ban as well, me and Tim.
Oh, Brian had a qualifying ban as well?
Yeah, I'm not sure what Brian did though.
So perhaps he ran a couple of out laps and at least got a good setup on the car. So 3 of you starting from the back of the grid. Nick Van Gelder struggling a little bit with grip on the car. Almost lost the back end through the turn 4 area.
He's pushing hard. I think he knows this is his best chance to nick a pole this season.
And Nick explaining to us earlier how much he hated that chicane at the end of this track. Oh, and he loses the back end again, and he's going to call it on that lap and dive back into the pits.
It's Sandro's on a lap.
So we'll pick up Sandro Dulius coming out of turn. What is that? Turn 3?
Turn 4 right now. And I did see he went purple first sector. So, like we thought, Nick and Sandro on the pace.
And just as we predicted.
Oh, and he's hopped over the curbs.
However, your Marusic still sitting atop the charts, 1:19.269, 10 minutes left to play in the session.
Yeah,
now, there's a lot of drivers that have yet to set a time. Actually, there's not a lot of drivers. Dion, Sandro, and Nick. Everybody else has got a qualifying ban. Actually, let's put up some lap data here.
And Sandro's...
And a 1:18.734 for Sandro Dulius, half a second quicker than your Marusic. So good on him. Marusic is currently on a
19.2.
Looks like he might be on a time lap. Looks like he was a tenth of a second up on his last time.
Yes, he is. He didn't carry as much speed as you'd like through that section.
Well, he was a lot smoother coming to the top of the hill on that sweeping right-hander on the short backstretch. He's 7/1000ths of a second up on his time. And the back end wants to slide out on him. He's trying to get that power down.
I don't think it's going to be Sandro's time.
So he improves his time by almost 0.2 of a second. Not his position, though, but that puts him in a good spot here on the grid so far. And I think he's got more speed in the car. We're going to pick up Sam Brandt. Looks like he's up by 0.02 of a second on his previous time, heading through Sector 2.
Ooh, everyone's struggling with turn 9 versus turn 8.
Yeah, the top of the hill, that's a very tricky corner.
Yeah.
I know you don't want to give too much away, but based on your setup, I mean, is that corner flat out or almost flat out heading to the top of the hill?
You do have to lift a bit. That, yeah, you definitely can't take it flat. I've tried it before, like, in the Grand Prix mode, and you just go straight into the gravel. And
And Sam Brandt, 1:19.011. 0.06 of a second quicker than your Marusic.
As I think Nick's on a lap.
I know Ivan Brito's just started a lap. We'll pick up Nick Van Gelder.
It's on purple first sector. As I'm surprised to see loads of people on the soft tyres. I really wasn't expecting that.
Does that make you rethink your tire strategy?
Kind of.
Without giving too much away.
Yeah.
So the idea for you, depending on what would, I guess, be the majority rule, you want to try and run, I imagine, the opposite strategy of most of the field since you're starting in the back.
Yeah, that was the plan, because with safety cars, anything can happen.
And look at that, Nick Van Gelder, 1:18.953, 0.2 of a second off of Sandro's time. So those two battling for that top spot, and I think you said it best. I think they know that this is their best shot at a pole position. And it looks like he's off the throttle a little bit, so he's going to probably head back into the pits. We'll pick up Ivan Brito. Looks like he come across the line, did not improve his time. He's on the medium tires now.
So maybe he is going to go to the softs at the end of the session. Or is he even doing 2 laps on the mediums?
Oh, big lock up there in the left front.
Yeah.
That's that turn 5 area. A lot of real F1 drivers had some trouble there yesterday. The back end wouldn't come around on the cars.
If you just carry too much speed in, you just go deep and just go straight off.
You know, that's one of the corners. It's kind of a little bit of a deceiving corner because you head in that corner, like you said, with a lot of speed, and it's downhill, it's off camber a little bit. It's easy to lose that back end or lock up that left front heading into the corner. You wouldn't think that by looking at the track map. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot of elevation change, but when you're in the car, there's a lot more elevation change than it looks like, isn't there?
Yeah, it's like you said, on the map it doesn't really look hard as a corner, but when you get to it, it's a hard, tricky corner not to lock up.
So Ivan Brito does improve his time, not his position. He did take some time off of that, though. 1:19.593, so he's down to the 1:19s. The only driver out on track that's in the 1:20s is Colin Higgins. Looks like he's getting ready to start a hot lap. We've got Dion Stahl out on the track as well on his out lap.
Oh, how Sandro lost 9 seconds? Was that just a glitch?
Less than 5 minutes to go in the session here, and things are going to start heating up. Sandro and Nick, the only 2 drivers into the 1:18s. Everybody else fairly close behind them in the 1:19s. You could throw a blanket over 3rd through 6th. They're only separated by half a second.
Sandro doing a little slide into the pits.
And we've got I Am Merciless asking if he can join the league. Well, you would have to contact Sam Brandt. That is going to be SRL_Sam1404. You can contact him on the PSN, and he will certainly sign you up. We were supposed to have a new driver join us today, Shadow Hunter. That was supposed to be Konstantinos Drogis, but it looks like he did not join today. But yeah, we're always looking for more drivers, Merciless, so by all means, send a PSN message to Again, SRL underscore Sam 1404. That is Sam Brandt, currently third on the timing charts. Here comes Colin Higgins to finish his lap. And he breaks into the 119s as well, but does not improve his position. We're going to pick up Dion Stahl real quick. He's at towards the end of his first hot lap of the session. Oh, and he goes for a spin almost. And he's going to dive back into the pits. So Dion, the only driver yet to set a time, Brian Power, Tim Ventic, and Lewis Marshall, who is with me in the booth right now, are three drivers who are all in qualifying bans due to previous instances at round 11 at Abu Dhabi. Nick Van Gelder back out on an out lap. 3 minutes left to play in the session. He's going to try and snatch that pole position. We'll hop on board with him. Down into turn 1. And Marshall, it's always good to have somebody join the stream, and absolutely be glad to have you here in the league as well. Again, contact Sam. He'll get you signed up.
But we give you a trial or you actually race as well. I think that's what you do, isn't it? Give people trials. Or is that differently? I can't remember. For a second. But needs 3/10 up on his time. Cool.
3/10 up, that would give him just a tick above Sandro's time. 2 minutes left to play in the session.
Look at Nick, he's really chucking the car in over the curbs. He hunts his pole.
Yeah, he's taking a risk there and validating his time. He's going to come across here. And a 1:18.312. And he is up on Sandro, and Sandro's going to be kicking the ground after that one. He is just now coming out on his out lap. So Sandro's going to make a last-ditch effort to try and take that pole position back. He is now 0.4 of a second off the pace.
He needs to pull something out of the bag here to nick pole.
And again, they are the only two drivers in the 118s. And there they are, Sandro Dulius and Nick Van Gelder in shot.
Less than a minute of quality
left. Less than a minute to go.
Yeah. And it looks like Sandro's...
Is Nick on a hot lap, or...?
No, Nick's probably hitting. He could be going out for another lap, is Nick. But if he's doing that, he needs to create some space between him and Sandro.
Plus he wants to try and use some of that slipstream down the front stretch. So here goes Sandro.
Is that Nick's just pitting these?
And Nick has just dived into the pit, so 1:18.312 is going to be the time to beat Sandro Dulius down the front stretch.
There's a yellow flag in sector 1.
That's exactly where Sandro is right now, heading up to the top of the hill. Time is up. Hot laps will count. And there is Dion Stahl, who did not set a time. So Dion struggling with setup. Looks like Sandro and Robin Herderstagen are the only two drivers that are going to be on a hot lap. Everybody else's times are locked in.
Sandro's a 10.5 up right now. Maybe even more. A good start for lap for Sandro.
Oh, and a big twitch there coming through the corner. He's still on the gas, trying to make it work. But I'm sure that cost him a little bit of time.
Still 10.5 up. Right now, he'll still be second. So he needs a big last sector. It's going to be close, I think.
It's going to be close. Comes out of the last corner.
And
1:18.797. Lost time in the last sector. So unfortunately, he is going to be locked into second spot.
I'm going to leave the class now for the race.
So Nick Van Gelder is going to be happy with that. That's his first pole position of the season.
Good looking commentary.
So here is your starting order. This is Nick Van Gelder, Sandro Dulius, Sam Brandt, Jurgen Marusic, Robin Herderstagen, Ivan Brito, Colin Higgins, Dion Stahl, who did not set a time, and then Brian Power, Tim Ventic, and Lewis Marshall, who was just joining me, rounding out your 11 drivers for the day. 9th through 10th had qualifying bans. Dion Stahl was 8th, did not set a time, but Lewis Marshall will be on track, so I am back to being all by my lonesome. Round 12 here at the Spanish Grand Prix, Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. So we'll wait for the grid to reset a little bit. We'll do the formation lap. So we wait for the grid to reset here in just a little bit. That's taking a little longer than anticipated. So here we go. Wait for the formation lap, and as the guys get going here, put some heat in the tires. Nick Van Gelder coming off of a pole position, his first pole of the year. He'll be looking to try and walk away with a win for sure, starting at the front of this grid. He's got 2 podiums to his credit so far this year. He'll definitely be looking to add a third to that and making it a win. Sandro Dulius starting his best qualifying position of the year, 2nd spot. He's struggled a bit this year with the handling characteristics of the game, and has had some bad luck. He had a throttle issue back at Silverstone that wouldn't allow him to put full throttle in the car, so hopefully he runs into no issues today. See if he can finish on the podium as well. And Sam Brandt starting in 3rd. He's coming off of his first podium finish from round 11 at Abu Dhabi last time out. He'll be looking to try and do it again. Can he make it back-to-back podiums? And Jurgen Marusic with a good qualifying effort, starting in the 4th spot in the Red Bull. Nick Van Gelder's teammate. He'll try and look and work his way and see if he can help support Nick in getting a 1-2 finish here for Red Bull. And Robin Herderstagen starting in the 5th spot. Finished 9th last time out at Abu Dhabi. He's going to be looking to add some more points today to that total. And Ivan Brito, the crowd favorite from the Portuguese Racing League, he'll be looking to put some points on the board. Unfortunately, has had a string of DNFs this year. He's had 3 DNFs to his credit. He'll be looking to put some points on the board today. And Colin Higgins in the factory Renault, he's going to be looking to play support to his teammate Tim Ventic, who is starting in the 10th spot. See if Tim can work his way back to the field and see if Colin Higgins can put some points on the board from the factory Renault. And Dion Stahl struggled in qualifying, was unable to find a setup for the car that would work. Starting in 8th, never set a time. And Brian Power, he's also had a bit of a tough year. He's got 4 DNFs to his credit. He'll be looking to try and finish the race and put some points on the board. Tim Ventic, qualifying ban, he'll be starting in 10th, and right behind him, Lewis Marshall. These 2 are championship contenders this year. Lewis Marshall is your championship points leader. Tim Ventic running in the 2nd spot in the points. These 2 are going to be starting at the back of the field. They'll have their work cut out for them to try and work their way towards the front. See if we can get a good camera angle here for the start. There we go. Wait on the 5 red lights. Lights are out, time to run. What you brung, they're away in a puff of smoke. And a good start by Sandro Dulius, but an even better start by Sam Brandt, but Brandt goes into the grass. And Dion Stahl drops all the way to the back. And no, we've got, what is that, Brian Power? Got clipped, made contact with one of the other cars, and it looks like that is Colin Higgins. Unbelievable at the start of this race, and Sandro Dulius and Nick are pulling away. Sam Brandt has jumped into 3rd. A great start by him, but he dived into the grass. And now we've got Ivan Brito's moved up into 6th. He's made a little bit of contact here with some of the other cars. That's Nick Van Gelder. I'm sorry, that is Jurgen Marusic, Robin Herderstagen. Van Gelder is out in front. Oh no, and a big hit there from behind. And that is Lewis Marshall getting spun by Ivan Brito. Marshall needs to keep his cool. Meanwhile, the top three have checked out. You see Lewis Marshall looks like he's checking his car. It looks like he has much damage done to the car. Try and check his front wing. Yeah, it looks like the end plates are gone, so he's going to be struggling with the front grip, so he is going to dive into the pits. So a lot of contact here at the opening lap. Meanwhile, Nick Van Gelder's checked out. Sandro Dulius almost a second behind that. Sam Brandt now running in third all by his lonesome. What's happened here? It was a bit of a glitch in the timing and scoring, it looked like. Tim Bentic and Robin Herderstag battling side by side. This is for the fourth spot. Bentic going to try and go around the outside. Herderstag cuts him off, does a slide job on him, and holds that position. He's now got the defensive line heading into the next corner. And we've got a three-car battle for the fourth spot. This is Robin Herderstag with Tim Bentic all over the back of him. Jurgen Marusic is in the picture as well. And Dion Stahl starting to come into the fold as well. Brian Power into the pits, as was Lewis Marshall. A lot of racing left, 33 laps in this race. Oh, and you see there, Bentic to the inside, was using the slipstream, got down in there under braking, and he's going to push Herderstag wide into that next corner. And Herderstag is going to lose the spot. He falls back to fifth, so Tim Bentic going to start his pursuit to the top spot. Meanwhile, Herderstag going to cut that corner a little bit. He's got Jurgen Marusic run. Oh, Jurgen runs very wide coming out of that corner. Dion Stahl cuts to the inside, and Jurgen gets pushed wide. Tried to pick him back up as he went to the gravel. And now lap 3. So the DRS will be enabled. And Colin Higgins and Lewis Marshall way back in the third sector. They are very far behind. Looks like Marshall has made his stop, switched over to the medium tires and a front wing. Ivan Brito switched over to the hards. That's going to be an interesting strategy. And Brian Power also on the hard tires. I doubt those guys are going to be able to run that all the way to the end, but that would be very interesting if they tried to do that. So Nick Van Gelder now has checked out to the tune of 2.2 seconds over Sandro Dulius. 2 seconds back from that is Sam Brandt. 2 seconds back from that is Tim Bentic. And then 2 seconds back from that, you've got this battle for fifth. This is Robin Herderstag trying to hold on to the fifth spot. Dion Stahl going to dive to the inside. He had the DRS advantage, and he's going to get that spot. Now Herderstag has dropped it down to the sixth spot. Jurgen Marusic is going to try and make a comeback here. A little bit of a comeback drive. He's down in the seventh spot after that melee at the opening lap. And unfortunately, it looks like we've lost our live chat. Nope, it's back again. I just now noticed that. So things are separated out a little bit here. Robin Herderstag got the DRS slot open, trying to get that spot back from Dion Stahl. While these two battle it out, Jurgen Marusic is closing in on this battle. So I think the driver to watch is going to be Lewis Marshall. He's managed to get around Colin Higgins. He's 24.7 seconds behind what is the battle for fifth here. I saw Jurgen Marusic drop a wheel into the grass, almost lost it. Dion Stahl starting to put some car lengths on Robin Herderstag in here for this fifth spot. But Robin's not out of the DRS range just yet. So fifth, sixth, and seventh covered by about 2 seconds. Dion Stahl able to skip away just a little bit, but not a lot. But now Jurgen Marusic has caught the backside of Robin Herderstag, and now Jurgen Marusic will have the DRS advantage as they head down the front straightaway. It looks like we've got a car coming out of the pits. That is Brian Power. Brian must have made a second pit stop. Looks like he was struggling on those hard tires. Here Marusic are running along with him on the side pod camera, looking to make a move, and now Marusic finds himself in the middle of a Racing Point sandwich. It's not a battle for position, though, but Power could spoil that for Marusic trying to get that spot from Robin Hutterstagen. Power is essentially a lap down at this point. He's a lap down to these cars. He's 54 seconds behind Ivan Brito in 10th. DRS slot open for Marusic. Dives to the inside. He's got enough speed. Can he outbrake him? And chops the nose off. But look at this. Hutterstagen back to the inside with a crossover move. They're side by side. Marusic loses the back end of the car on the curb. Gets a little bit of a touch from Hutterstagen. And now he's going to struggle to get the car back on track. And going side by side through there is very tough. You saw that Marusic just dropped the wheels onto the curb just a little bit under power. Lost the back end. He's been struggling with rear end grip. He qualified fourth. He is now back into the 7th spot. He'll regain his composure. Meanwhile, we've got a battle going on up here, and we missed this, unfortunately. Tim Ventic has now moved into 2nd spot over top of Sandro Dulius. And that is my apologies for missing that battle. You see Brian Power did make a 2nd stop already to get off of those hard tires he was having such a hard time with. Oh, and Sandro goes very wide for that corner there. Look at the back of Sandro's car. You see Sam Branch is coming to the top of the hill as well. So Tim Ventic has managed to get around Sandro Dulius for the 2nd spot, and he's starting to try and close that gap down to Nick Van Gelder. Van Gelder is out in front by 4.6 seconds. And the cars at this point are pretty well separated here on this track, and Dulius is going to dive into the pits. So that is going to hand over the... Nope, Sam Brandt's going to dive into the pits as well, as did Nick Van Gelder. So Tim Ventic is going to become your new leader through the pit sequence. Where's Dion Stahl going to come in all this? Dion's going to come in and pit as well. Nope, Dion jumps to the 2nd spot down the front stretch. Marusic is in. Everybody making a pit stop. So what is Lewis Marshall going to do? Lewis Marshall made a pit stop early because contact on the first lap. Marshall will pick up a couple of spots. Looks like we get a little bit of internet connection glitch there. Marshall moves into the 6th spot. He's got Sam Brandt in front of him. And we've got Ivan Brito battling it out with Robin Hutterstagen here. This is for the 8th spot. A little bit of a lock up there heading into that corner. Me and Lewis talked about that corner earlier on in qualifying. It's a little bit of a deceiving corner. You head into it pretty quick. It's downhill. It's off camber. Oh, and Brito drops the right side tires into the gravel. That's going to cost him a little bit of time. Oh, and he runs very wide coming to the top of the hill. Brito just trying to get into that DRS range, giving that advantage going down the front stretch. And Lewis Marshall now, he has caught the back end of Sam Brandt. He's within DRS striking distance now. Marshall, your championship points leader, very fast. He's been battling it out most of the year with Vasilios Belasiotis. Vasilios made the announcement last week that he was done playing F1 2019 on the PS4. Didn't like this game. He said it was crap. Switched over to PC gaming. So Vasilios is not going to be a factor, it looks like, for the remainder of the year. But Tim Ventic and Lewis Marshall, your two fastest drivers, And it does look like Ivan Brito did make that pass to get around Jurgen Marusic. Robin Herdestag, it looks like he might have had a little bit of an off. He lost a couple of spots. Marusic now is all over the backside of Ivan Brito. Try and keep up with these battles on track. Lewis Marshall battling it out with Sam Brandt. Brandt coming off of his first podium in a long time back at Abu Dhabi. There's your lead president right there. And Lewis Marshall's going to have the DRS advantage coming down the front stretch. He should be easily able to make this pass. Jurgen Marusic and Ivan Brito battling it out side by side. Brito doesn't want to give up that position. Where are the cars? There's some fancy camera work. Lewis Marshall down to the inside going into turn 1. He's going to easily take that spot away from Sam Brandt. And Lewis Marshall will set his sights on one of his rivals, Sandro Dulias, who is running in the 4th spot. He is 9 seconds behind Nick Van Gelder, and Van Gelder is catching Sandro's teammate, Dion Stahl. He's only 1.5 seconds back from that. Now the question is, does Dion play any type of defensive gaming to try and back Nick Van Gelder up to Sandro so that he doesn't lose that spot and Sandro can catch up to this battle? And that is now under a second. And they have both made a pit stop. Well, Dion has not made the pit stop. Sandro Dulias and Nick Van Gelder have made the pit stops. And Dion has yet to make a stop. Neither is Tim Benting. Van Gelder with the DRS slot open. Dives to the inside. He's going to be able to easily take that second spot away from Dion Stahl. And while that is happening, Jurgen Marusic and Ivan Brito continue to battle it out. These guys have been going back and forth the past couple of laps for this 8th spot. Going the nose cam for Marusic. Tries to keep the power down. Lost a little bit of time through that chicane. But he's got the DRS advantage, and look how quickly that Red Bull catches up to the Alfa Romeo. The DRS slot open. Brito tries to take away the defensive line. A little bit of a lockup heading into that corner. Good defensive driving by Ivan Brito. Marusic can't find a way around him just yet. This is your closest battle on track right now as they head into the sweeping right-hander. Puts a lot of stress on that left front tire. Great line by Ivan Brito to hold off Marusic. And now Marusic has to be very careful here through this part of the track here. He's going to get some aero wash coming off the backside of Ivan Brito's car. Going to take some of that front grip away. Lost of downforce, but Brito runs very wide. Marusic has got the DRS slot open at the top of the hill. He's not close enough to make a move. And hard on the brakes, but not able to get in there. Great battle going on for the 8th spot. Oh, and Marusic cuts that corner a little tight, pops over the curbs. Lost some time through that chicane, but he's going to have the DRS advantage. Look how dark it is in the shadows down the front stretch. Marusic lost a lot of time through that last chicane. Ivan Brito took that corner great. Whoa, and a big moment there for Jurgen Marusic. Big twitch in the car. Can he get it back on track? He's really struggling to get it going. So Marusic with a big mistake there, and that's going to give Ivan Brito some breathing room finally. So he'll be able to check out. So we got a little bit of a grid reset after all this. Tim Ventic is your leader. He's out front of Nick Van Gelder by 14.3 seconds. Now Van Gelder's the first car on track that made a pit stop for the pit sequence. Dion Stahl and Tim Ventic running first and third. Neither one of them have yet to make a pit stop. Dion Stahl running in the 3rd spot. Sandro Dulias is his teammate. He's running in 4th, but he is being caught by Lewis Marshall. Marshall only 1.5 seconds back from Sandro Dulias. working lap 12 of 33, and Lewis Marshall, who had to make a very early pit stop after getting caught up in that melee on the opening lap, completely destroyed his tire strategy for this race. Had to change tires and front wing. He was dead last at one point, and they have caught. Now this is Brian Power. This is Brian Power in front of these two. This is not a battle for position. He's in the 11th spot. He's essentially a lap down to most of the cars on track. Now Marshall is within DRS range of Sandro Dulius. Dulius is going to have the DRS advantage as well, though, because even though Brian Power is not a battle for position, he's still within a second of the car in front, so he gets that advantage. Marshall's not going to be able to make a move down that backstretch, and you see Brian Power wisely gets out of the way. We certainly appreciate that. Heads up driving by Brian Power. And here we go, Lewis Marshall down at the front stretch. He should have the DRS advantage. Slot will be open. We'll hop on board with him, and here comes the Mercedes on the Ferrari. He's not going to be close enough to make a move at the end of this backstretch. Runs a very tight line through the 1-2 complex and up this sweeping turn 3. Flat out, he's got to get a little bit of slipstream off of Dulius' car in front. And now Lewis Marshall is going to be right up against the gearbox of the Ferrari. Dulius runs a little wide coming out of there. DRS slot open on the Mercedes. Not close enough to make a move. Oh, and Marshall runs very wide coming out of that corner. He's definitely going to be getting a little bit of loss of front down grip here, right into the slipstream of the Ferrari in front of him. Tries to get that power down, and here he goes. He's going to be right up against the gearbox now. There's not much Dulius can do in this situation. And now it's a drag race, and look at this. Dulius tries to give the old NASCAR side draft, slow him down a little bit. Dulius heavy into the brakes in turn 1. Lewis Marshall up to 4th. Now Sandro's not completely out of touch with Lewis Marshall, but he is definitely losing a little bit of ground. A couple of car lengths put in between them now. Oh no, and Brian Powers retired from the session. And we've got a safety car, so Brian Power has had a big off. That's going to be an interesting strategy. Tim Bentek immediately dives into the pits. And Nick Van Gelder, I don't think is going to be able to get in front of Bentek. Oh, and Van Gelder's going to dive into the pits as well, as will Dion Stahl. So interesting strategies being played out here. This will definitely close up the gap. And Marshall is still with us on the live chat. Good to see he's sticking with us and see how this battle pans out. Safety car now. So we'll let the field get caught up to that. So Brian Power, who was having a pretty horrible race as it was, looks like he had a big off and crashed out, unfortunately. He's officially left the session. So the good news is, in the race if they can finish. And I do believe the rule here at SRL is if you run 90% of the race and happen to crash out and get a DNF, you will still get credited for those points. So we wait for the safety car to get the group of cars together. Now, it didn't really shake the running order up a whole lot. Get a little bit of a grid reset here because Tim Ventic is still going to be your leader. Nick Van Gelder is in second spot. Dion Stahl is in third. Lewis Marshall behind him in fourth. Sandro Dulius in fifth. Sam Brent is now in sixth spot. Colin Higgins is in seventh. Joe Marusic is eighth. Ivan Brito is ninth. And Robin Herderstegen in the pits will be 10th. And let's take a look at some of the tire information. Look at this. Everybody is on a fresh set of hards. So everybody looking to run these set of tires to the end of this race. So no more tire strategy coming into play. This is going to be all about straight pace at this point. Unbelievable. Everybody on hard tires. So we'll pick up Tim Ventic. He's behind the safety car. And it looks like most of the field is now starting to grid up, line up. Easy there, Nick. No passing under the safety car. And Nick Van Gelder has left the session. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Not sure. Oh, and there goes Nick's car. Now, this is a safety car glitch, if I've ever seen one. And where Tim, if you're listening, just stay behind the safety car. It's a safety car glitch. Just stay where you're at, Tim. So Nick Van Gelder's left the session. Not sure if he's had an internet issue or what. The car has gone AI, and the AI car has decided, I'm going to lead this race, whether you like it or not. And, yeah, Nick's car is, let's hop on board. So Nick's car is AI, and he's off to the races by himself. Now, here's the thing that I'm wondering. Does the game think Nick's car needs to catch up to the pack before the safety car is released? Because even by AI standards, it doesn't seem like it's on full song. It's not full pace just yet. This is weird. Codemasters has they did the update. They went from a lack of like hardly ever having a safety car to almost having a safety car every time somebody freaking drops a wheel in the grass. And in the midst of it, they have found a few more glitches within the safety car realm. And here is the safety car now. And this, okay, so it has picked up Nick Van Gelder as the lead car. Man, talk about a glitch. So here comes Tim. Now, Tim is essentially the leader of this race. Nick, and I don't know what happened first or if it was a product of what had happened, but Nick left the session, possibly an internet issue. He's not one to usually rage quit. Yeah, merciless, yes. It is going to be interesting to see how Ventic can pull this off, especially with this glitch. So Nick left the session, I'm going to say due to an internet issue. He has probably got internet issues in his current living situation. I won't dive too much into his personal information, but possibly an internet issue has disconnected him. As he disconnected, the car went AI and decided that it was tired of running second, that it's going to run first. Drove around the track, picks up the safety car. The safety car seems to think Nick is the leader, even though it is actually Tim Ventic. So your running order is Tim Ventic, Dion Stahl, Lewis Marshall, Sandro Dulius, Sam Brandt, Colin Higgins, Jurgen Marusic, Ivan Brito, and Robin Herterstegen, and that is essentially going to be first through ninth unless Nick can regain control of his car. Now, the problem there is if Nick can rejoin the session, he'll have to take the green flag as the leader, but he would have to immediately give that position back to Tim. And what is going on back here? There should be no... Oh, my goodness. And Colin Higgins, under the safety car, has had a spin. And now he is in the ninth spot. It says the safety car is going to be in this lap. And somehow... How does this happen, Codemasters? Somehow the AI car has gotten in front of the safety car. It's actually comical. So I think everybody, and I don't think everybody even knows this, but wow, and look how slow the AI car is going through the chicane. Let's see if the safety car peels off. Safety car does peel off. Nick Van Gelder has rejoined the session, and he can't pass until the start-finish line. So this has been a very jumbled mess of a safety car. I'm not even sure if Van Gelder has control of his car. They fan out heading down the front stretch, and Ventic, who should be the leader, is going to get that position back. So now they're running as they should. Lewis Marshall into the third spot. And Robin Herterstegen is had a big off, and there's a wreck between Marusic and Herterstegen. And Herterstegen's done for the day. Sandro Dulius and Nick Van Gelder don't see each other. This is going to be interesting. And around goes Dion Stahl. And what a mess. And that is Sam Brandt who had a big off. Herterstegen has left the session. What a mess. My, what a huge glitch. And then the glitch just threw a wrench into everybody's race. So now that we're a half a lap in, let's take a little bit of a breather and try to see what's happening here. Tim Ventic is officially your leader. Lewis Marshall, through all that, is running in second. Sandro Dulius is in third. Nick Van Gelder is fourth. I think he has rejoined the race, got a grip of his car, but I'm not 100% sure that the game even recognizes his car on track, because it looks like there was one car inside of another. He's currently running in fourth. Colin Higgins has managed to work his way back into fifth. Good run from him. Sam Brandt is in sixth. Ivan Brito breathing down his neck in seventh. Dion Stahl has to pit from an incident on that opening lap. Jurgen Marusic has got wing damage because of his contact with Robin Herterstegen, and Herterstegen is crashed out. So now there is no racing point left in the game. Brian Power, oh, big hit there. Marusic almost lost his car. So Marusic in the pits. So Brian Power and Robin Herterstegen are both done for the day in the racing points. I'll try to fix my headset here. And Merciless thinks Tim's going to have this one for the win, but now we've got ourselves the two fastest drivers running 1 and 2 Ventic with Lewis Marshall breathing down his neck. This isn't only a battle for the race, there's a battle for the championship points lead. Lewis Marshall is your points leader. Ventic contending for that. Two very fast drivers. Sandro running comfortably in the third spot. However, Colin Higgins is caught up to Nick Van Gelder. And Van Gelder, who looked fast prior to losing connection. That was one of the oddest safety car glitches I've seen, and now the DRS is going to be enabled. Let's see if Higgins can get by. And Dion Stahl picks up a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. That's the first time penalty I've seen today from any of the drivers. Everybody's been relatively clean. We've got a couple of battles going on track here. We've got Lewis Marshall battling with Tim Ventic for the lead. We've got Colin Higgins battling with Nick Van Gelder for the fourth spot. And then we've got Ivan Brito battling it out with Sam Brandt for sixth. And it looks like Higgins is going to make that pass. And again, I'm not 100% sure if Nick's even got control of his car. I want to say no at this point, even though he's rejoined the session. So DRS slot open for Lewis Marshall. Working lap 21 of 33. Everybody is on the hard tires, maybe with the exception of Dion. He had to make another pit stop. So Dion and Yuma Rusic have switched over to the medium tires for the remainder of the race. Since they both had contact on that opening stint after the safety car went in from its weird glitch. But we've got this battle raging on for the top spot here between the two fastest drivers on track. And Ventic's going to go all the way to the inside, try and take away that defensive line, try and break up that slipstream a little bit. DRS slot open for Lewis Marshall. Not going to be close enough to make a move at the end of the front stretch. And Nick Van Gelder gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding into the pit lane. So Van Gelder's race has fallen apart, started on pole position, had an internet issue, we had the safety car glitch. He's now got a 5-second time penalty for speeding into the pit. So Van Gelder's race has just fallen apart. Meanwhile, Lewis Marshall still trying to find a way around Tim Ventic's Renault. And Tim Ventic very wide on the top of the hill there. Marshall with a little bit more of a tighter line. DRS slot open, good on the brakes heading into this corner. And I think this is probably the closest Marshall has been coming through the chicane. If he gets a good run out of here, he should be able to finally make a move on the Tim Ventic for that top spot. We'll hop on board with him, and Ventic gets a good run coming out of that last part of the chicane, all the way down to the inside. Look at that gap separation Ventic's able to put on Marshall coming out of that last part of the chicane. And again, Marshall's not going to be close enough to make a move. And Van Gelder does come back out of the pits. He is currently running in the 7th spot all by his lonesome. He is 25 seconds behind Sam Brandt for the 6th spot. And he is 3 seconds ahead of Dion Stahl, who is running in 8th. Meanwhile, the battle rages on at the front of the field between Tim Ventic and Lewis Marshall. This is the type of racing action I expected to see out of this race. As I said earlier, low on car count does not mean low on action. We definitely had some of that on track today. So we look out the backside of Lewis Marshall's car. And Yuma Rusic just ran the fastest lap. I don't want to look at the back of the Mercedes when there's nobody there. Thank you. And Marshall not able to close up that gap a whole lot. And this is where Ventic's been able to capitalize on this. He's able to get a lot of gap separation coming out of the chicane there. And once again, Marshall's going to have that DRS slot open. Now this is the closest he's been on the front stretch. And he just ran the fastest lap. He's still not going to be close enough to make a move here at the end of the front stretch. Oh, but he tucks up right behind him going into turn 1-2 complex. And you get this big sweeping right-hander for turn 3. And turn 3, it just keeps on sweeping through turn 4. Tight line by Lewis Marshall. Head downhill to turn 5. It's a little bit of a deceiving corner. Marshall talked about that in qualifying. He was in the booth with me. Good line through there from Marshall. He's going to try and keep it tight here. Very tight. DRS slot open. Not going to be close enough to make a move. Throws the brakes on at the 100-meter mark. And Marshall running out of laps. 9 laps left to go. He's been unable to find a way around Tim Ventic. And now he is definitely close enough. He's in striking distance of Tim Ventic. And he just ran the fastest lap again. Ventic all the way down to the inside. Takes away that defensive line. Tries to keep that inside line. Oh, and around the outside goes Lewis Marshall. And he's going to make it stick. And that's a power move by Lewis Marshall. But now Tim Ventic is all over the back of him. Now Ventic's going to have the DRS advantage. in the slipstream. Can Ventic come back? It took Lewis Marshall a number of laps to make that move stick. DRS slot open on the Renault. I want to watch Ventic here through the Sector 3 here, this last part of the chicane. That's where Ventic was able to really keep that gap open on Lewis Marshall for a number of laps. And a good line through there, cuts that one a little tight. But he definitely wants to try it. He is very close to coming back on Lewis Marshall. Oh yeah, that's going to be a drag race down the front stretch. Marshall knows he doesn't have the advantage. He's going to dive back behind Tim Ventic, get a little bit of slipstream heading into turn 1. So Marshall only able to hold on to that only able to hang on to that lead for a lap. And now he is back in the second spot, working lap 26 of 33. The lap's winding down as these two have swapped positions now a couple of times in the last couple of laps. Great driving from both guys. Ventic, he runs really wide coming out of the top of that hill. And look at that, again, Marshall loses some distance, and Tim Ventic just ran the fastest lap. So not only are these guys swapping positions, these guys are swapping fastest lap for that bonus point as well. And while this is your closest battle on track, in what has been a very, very odd race. I mean, it was very clean for the most part, and then the safety car, which safety cars usually throw a wrench into the race as it is, but the safety car glitch and Nick Van Gelder losing the internet connection at the same time really threw a curveball into this, and it's really ruined Nick's race. But we've got a little bit of a battle starting to heat up for the fourth spot. That's Ivan Brito running in fourth. That's a good run for him today. Colin Higgins closing in that gap to him, so that's also a good run for Higgins. That's a good mid-pack battle between those two drivers. We're going to stick with this battle here for the lead. We're going to keep timing and scoring. Pay attention to that for that battle for fourth. But Ventic coming around the lead another lap, and he's just able to get through that chicane just a tick quicker than Lewis Marshall. Marshall really good on the brakes going into turn 1. These guys are so equal on this track. Both of them having some good runs, and they're both quicker than one another at different parts of the track. Obviously, heading into turn 1, Lewis Marshall's good on the brakes, getting through the 1-2 complex and up through turn 3. On the backside of it, in Sector 3, Tim Ventic seems to be able to create a good amount of separation between him and the car behind him heading through the chicane. And now Colin Higgins just picked up a 3-second time penalty, running in 5th, and that battle for 4th now is going to be all for naught because he's got that 3-second time penalty. And again, Marshall runs a little bit better line coming up the top of the hill, but it's really through here, coming out of this corner, Ventic is able to really start creating some separation through this left-right exchange. Oh, look at that. Marshall does it a little too hot. Car washes out just a little bit, had to dive in that corner. And right in here now, and both of them cutting that corner a little tight. I'm surprised neither one of them has gotten a 3-second time penalty, but Ventic able to keep that gap. So Lewis Marshall is stronger in Sector 1, Tim Bentic is stronger in Sector 3, and they're about equal in the middle sector. It's made for a really interesting race, and Colin Higgins picks up another 3-second time penalty. So now with the time penalties, that's 6 seconds. Sam Brand is 12.7 seconds back from Higgins, and if Higgins keeps that up, he can lose another spot. I think Higgins was pushing really hard to try and get to that 4th spot, but with 2 3-second time penalties, looks like the battle for 4th is going to be done so. And Ivan Brito running in 4th spot. That's a great day for Ivan Brito. It really is. He's a fan favorite, really cool guy, really nice guy, and a fairly mature driver. And look at this, Lewis Marshall losing out again. That 3rd sector. Marshall and Bentic both trying to charge them batteries just a little bit. And we're going to look out the back of the Mercedes for no good reason, because Code Masters is the way they are. So we'll hop on board with Marshall. You can really see the different lines that Bentic is running in correlation, in comparison to, I should say, to Lewis Marshall. Now Marshall really close. Half a second gap as they head down the front stretch. Marshall not close enough, but closes up under braking. Three laps to go. Oh, and a lock up there from Lewis Marshall. Bentic almost left that door open a little bit. Took that corner a little bit wider than normal. Ran a little bit of a diamond line through there. And Marshall locked up that left front. He took a bad line through that quick chicane there. A little S heading up towards the hill. There you go, Marshall keeping it tight now through that corner. That's a good line for him. Trying to stick close to the Bentic. And now Marshall might have a chance at making a run at him. I didn't hear the DRS slot open. I did hear it close though, so Marshall not able to make up the gap. 2 laps remaining. And it makes you wonder if Marshall's just biding his time and maybe try and make a move on the last lap. That way Bentic doesn't have the chance to take the lead back. Really going to want to watch this coming down the front stretch as they come across for lap 33. That'll be the key. If Marshall's going to make a move, this is going to be the lap that he wants to do it, I can tell. I think Marshall's raced in enough races with a guy like Tim that he knows that there'll be a lot of swapping back and forth for position. I think maybe now he's been biding his time, just trying to stay close. Marshall's probably going to try and make a move down the front stretch. He's not going to give Tim the opportunity to take it back on the next lap. He's going to make the move on the last lap. Here's to prove how just intelligent of a driver Marshall is and can be. He's also done some boneheaded things in the past and had a few lapses in judgment. But look at Vente get that good run come out of the corner, and he really separates himself. And I just saw, I don't know if there was a time penalty there or not. I just thought I saw a flash of something at the bottom of the screen. Final lap of this race, Lewis Marshall trying to find a way around the Renault of Tim Ventick. Heading up the hill into turn 3. Marshall with a very nice tight line. Ventick going to try and break up that slipstream just a little bit. Marshall still trying to recoup some of that energy recovery system to recharge that battery. To the top of the hill. Only a handful of corners left for Lewis Marshall. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to close enough to make a move. Tim Ventick. Only a couple more corners now. Marshall with a last-ditch effort cuts the corner, tries to get the power down. And Tim Ventick is going to come across the line. Ventick is your winner. Lewis Marshall in second. Sandro Dulius. And look at that, Lewis Marshall runs the fastest lap of the race on the last lap, so he'll get the bonus point. Juma Rusic will be classified in 9th. Here comes Sandro Dulius with a much-needed podium finish. He'll come across in 3rd. And Ivan Brito with a great run today to the 4th spot. A good run for Ivan. Congratulations to him. That's one of his best finishes in a long time. I think it's his best finish of the year. Colin Higgins is going to come across 5th. Sam Brandt, who unfortunately started in the 3rd spot today, he's going to come across 6th. And then Nick Van Gelder, whose race just went absolute nuts with the safety car. He comes across in the 7th spot. Dion Stahl, who didn't make much noise today, comes across in 8th, and that is going to round out your 9 finishing drivers. So Tim Ventick for the win. So Tim Ventick is your winner, and that is a much-needed win for him in this championship points battle. And he picks up his 2nd win of the year, Tim Ventick does. Lewis Marshall with another podium finish. So here is your finishing order. Tim Ventick, Lewis Marshall, Sandro Dulius, Ivan Brito, Colin Higgins, Sam Brandt, Nick Van Gelder, Dion Stahl, Juma Rusic, Robin Herderstagen, and Brian Power. 9th and 10th and 11th DNFs. 1 through 9 all get points. Congratulations to Tim Ventick on his 2nd win of the year. Sandro Dulius with a much-needed podium finish, and it's his first one in a long time. In fact, that is only his 2nd podium of the season. That is his first one since round 7 back at Paul Ricard. Lewis Marshall with his 6th podium finish of the season. So congratulations to all drivers. And Nick Van Gelder on the live chat. He says he felt like he was able to get a good result today, but he disconnected and the AI drove into the safety car, broke his wing. Not only did the safety car drive, not only did your AI car drive into the safety car, it drove around the safety car. So that internet loss there, you see from Nick Van Gelder in the live chat, it did destroy his race. He did come home 7th. Not what he wanted today. But congratulations to Tim, Lewis, and Sandro on today's race. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment to the SRL YouTube channel. Now, we're going to have races week after week. Next week, we won't be doing F1, but we will be doing Project Cars 2, where we are running a IMSA LMP2 category race. That race will be in Laguna Seca, 1.2 hours, where we'll race from day into night. Sam Brandt will be commentating that race. I will actually be racing in it, so be sure to check that out next week. And then after that, we'll go back to Formula One. So every week is going to be another race, and every other week will be F1 versus every other week with IMSA. Be sure to check us out online. It is something to the effect of srlracing.weebly.com. I'm not 100% what it is, but be sure to Google to check it out. Merciless, be sure to send a PSN message to Sam Brandt, and once again, that was SRL_Sam1404 or 1404. If you want to get joined up with the league, always looking for new drivers, administrators, stewards, whatever the case may be, we've got a spot for you. So guys, it's been a lot of fun. Check us out next week where we race LMP2 at Laguna Seca, and we'll see everybody at the next round.